All right, let's talk about a huge challenge that pretty much every grad researcher has to face. How in the world do you take that absolute mountain of work you call a thesis and turn it into a sharp, powerful, and most importantly, publishable journal article? Let's get right into it.
Okay, first things first, if you've actually finished your thesis, seriously, congratulations. That is a monumental achievement. But you know what's coming next, right? After the celebration ends, a whole new kind of pressure starts to build. The thesis isn't really the finish line anymore. It's more like the starting block. So, now what?
And here's the biggest hurdle, and it's all in your head. The number one mistake people make is thinking they can just, cut down a chapter and call it a day. But a thesis is this big, sprawling beast, while an article is more like a sleek predator. They're built for totally different purposes and for totally different audiences. Getting your head around that is honestly half the battle.
To really get this, we need to spend a moment in these two completely different worlds, because this is so much more than just deleting paragraphs. It's a fundamental shift in how you approach writing altogether.
First up, who are you even writing for? Your thesis was probably for a handful of people, right? A small committee whose main job was to check your work and make sure you did it right. An article, though, that's for a global audience of your peers. They already trust you did the work. What they want to know is, what did you discover?
And then there's the most obvious difference: the scale of it. A thesis can easily top 100,000 words. An article, you're lucky if you get 8,000. We're talking about shrinking it down to less than 10% of the original size. This isn't just trimming, it is a complete and total reconstruction.
And that huge difference really gets at the different purpose of each one. A thesis is basically your ticket to the club. It proves you have the skills and you know how to be a researcher. An article, on the other hand, is the research. It's you stepping up to make a new, original contribution to the global conversation in your field.
And as you can see here, every single thing changes. The whole 6-chapter structure you worked so hard on, gone. Replaced by a super focused format. That massive literature review, it gets condensed and woven into the story. Even your writing voice has to shift, from being cautious and comprehensive to being confident and concise.
So if everything has to change, it's easy to feel a little overwhelmed. Where do you even start? Well, you start with a crucial mindset shift. And honestly, this is the single most important idea in this entire process.
With your thesis, the name of the game was comprehensiveness. You had to throw everything in there. Every theory, every tiny detail, every minor finding, just to prove to your committee that you'd covered all your bases and were incredibly thorough.
But for an article, the goal is the complete opposite. It's all about selectivity. Your new job is to find the single most powerful argument in your entire thesis and tell only that one story, using only your absolute strongest evidence. You have to be ruthless about what you cut. And this quote right here, this says it all. This should be your new mantra. You are not reporting everything. You are making one argument, one contribution. That's it. So the big question is, how do you actually structure that one argument? Well, to make that single argument, you need a new blueprint. And for most articles, especially in the sciences and social sciences, that blueprint is called IMRAD. It's just a simple, super logical way to tell a research story. Think of it like this. Introduction, what was the problem? Method, what did you do? Results, what did you find? And discussion, what does it all mean? This 4-act structure basically forces you to be selective and guides your reader straight to your main point. Okay, so we've covered the what and the how. Now for the really important question. Where is the article actually hiding inside your thesis? Because spoiler alert, most theses have enough material for at least 2 or 3 articles.
This is where you get to become a detective in your own work. You're not looking for a chapter to just copy and paste. You're searching for a golden thread, a single powerful narrative that can be pulled out and stand all on its own.
So where do you start digging? Go right back to the beginning. Ask yourself, what was the core problem that got you started on this whole journey? What was that specific gap in the literature that you knew you could fill? And which of your research questions led to the sharpest, most interesting answers? Your first article is almost always hiding at the intersection of those 3 things.
So let's end with this. If you remember one thing today, make it this. Don't think of this as shortening your thesis. That sounds like a chore. Instead, think of yourself as a storyteller. Your real job is to find and tell its single most important story. And when you do that, you're not just a student anymore. You're a published author.